Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Shepherd Alumni Spotlights. Today, we have an alumni, André Ware. He has done his Shepherd internship in 2014 with the Dorchester Bay Economic Development Corporation. Currently, he's working at the Center for Court Innovation in New York City, and he was previously with the Peace Corps. André, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So one of my first questions for you, what drew you to become involved with the Shepherd program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I attended Niagara University, a liberal arts college in Western New York, and I was introduced to Shepherd through I took a understanding poverty course in college, and one of my professors introduced me to the program. Thought I'd be great, a good fit. I was interested in not only poverty studies, but also working alongside youth and underserved communities. And through those interests, my professor thought I'd find some interest in the Shepherd internship, and that's where I ended up.
Hey, that's awesome. I love that. That sounds so familiar because it's kind of similar to my story. I did not know about Shepherd at all until a professor mentioned it to me. So you did your internship in Boston, right, with the Dorchester Bay Economic Development Corporation. Can you tell me more about that? How did you end up getting matched to that organization and so forth?
Absolutely. So I've been passionate about working with youth for many years. Um, Throughout my life, I've been the beneficiary of youth programming, travel abroad programming, civic engagement programming. And so that's something that I've wanted to turn around and offer and facilitate programming for youth. And so I was paired with the Dorchester Bay Economic Development Corporation Youth Force Program, which they hire young people throughout the year, actually, but they have a larger group of students during the summer. These young people are paid through the Massachusetts Youth Jobs Budget, and they're essentially getting paid to do advocacy. So they go out and they advocate for example, that summer we were working on getting free metro passes for young people who go to school. So I'm from New York City. Um, a lot of students in New York City, we get free metro cards to attend school. It wasn't the same for a lot of youth in Boston. So that's something they were advocating for. They're also advocating for um, increasing the youth jobs budget for future summers and future years. It's so critical for young people to have something to do that's keeping them busy during the summer. And so that's something they were passionate about and fighting for. And so, I went in there and we hit the ground running. We worked on several campaigns together and facilitated lessons on, everything from mass incarceration to organizing. And it was an amazing summer just learning from a group of 10 plus youth from another state. And it definitely changed my perspective on how young people can be change makers without being able to vote.
Wow, that's awesome. That sounds like a busy summer, but really exciting.
Yeah, it was a
So,
lot of fun.
yeah. So with the work you did there, would you say that kind of shaped your career into what you're doing now? I know you were also involved with the Peace Corps. Would you say the internship has kind of motivated you to go towards that direction? I guess the main overarching question is how has the internship shaped your decisions moving forward?
Absolutely. I would say, to be honest, it solidified what I wanted to do. So I already knew that I was interested and passionate about working with youth. I already knew that I wanted to do some advocacy work and teaching youth how to be change makers and working alongside them. And so that summer just solidified everything that I was hoping to do and put me on a more straight path towards, working in the Peace Corps or working with organizations such as Global Kids or even the Center for Court Innovation. I still work with youth throughout all those different capacities. And so, yeah, I think, that summer, it definitely taught me that youth are change makers. It taught me that youth again, despite not having the ability to vote, and despite not, traditionally having that voice, they can still go out and challenge elected officials and tell them, hey, although we didn't quote unquote vote for you, we still pay taxes in a lot of ways. We have jobs, we pay taxes in that way. Our families pay taxes, and so we should still have a voice in what goes on. And the success of the future generations will determine how successful Boston is, or Massachusetts is, or this country is going forward. So yeah, it definitely solidified what I was hoping to do, and I'm going to continue working with youth as long as I can.
That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. I would say the same for me. SHEP has given me so much more an insight into the career I want to go into the future, and it's been a real solidification for me as well. Happy to hear that. And also, it's awesome to hear that you're from New York City. I currently live in Brooklyn, so awesome. So another question I have is, you currently work for the Center for Social Innovation in New York City. So what does a day in the life in Andre look like? What's like the work that you do there?
Yeah, so so the Center for Court Innovation, they have 36 different projects across the United States. And so I work at one of the projects in Staten Island, or the only project in Staten Island, called the Staten Island Justice Center. And so I manage two youth programs. One is a court mandated mentorship program. So a judge, for example, would mandate a young person to um, have contact with a mentor for a certain amount of hours a week, and they build a relationship in that way. So the mentor can assist them with anything from like job readiness to just having someone there to talk to. And then I manage a voluntary youth program for a particular neighborhood in Staten Island called Stapleton. And youth in that neighborhood, they learn about different topics. It's a peer mentorship program. They learn about different topics ranging from financial literacy to healthy relationships. And so a lot of it right now is admin work. I don't do the on the ground youth work as much as I have done in the past, but I still get interaction with youth. I manage a few staff. It's been great, just running these amazing programs for the center. And yeah, a lot of it is just admin stuff, but I still get interactions with youth here and there.
Hey, I think that is amazing. I think there's something really special about being able to share knowledge with the younger generation. And as you said, they are really true change makers, and you being in that unique role of facilitating that is amazing.
Thank you.
So yeah, stemming from that, do you have any advice for current students, especially people who are looking at the SHEP program, or just other programs and opportunities in general? Anything you want to say too?
Yeah, I would say, to be honest, for college students going into the SHEP program, just don't have any expectations. Go in there with a blank slate, a clean mind, and be willing to learn. I learned so much from my colleagues. I learned so much from the youth that I was working with. And again, without that experience, I really wouldn't, to be honest, be here today in the position that I am in, and with the perspective that I have. And so, yeah, I think that's the biggest piece of advice: just go in with a clean slate, and just don't have necessarily any expectations. You're gonna have an amazing experience. It's gonna be unlike any other program that you're gonna participate in going forward. And so, yeah, just going with a clean slate.
Andre, thank you so much for being with us this morning. This was amazing, and I'm really, really happy that you got to share your experience with everyone.
Thank you for having me. So I appreciate it.